So the fight starts. Joshua cannot catch up to Jake. You can see very clearly that the game plan was for Paul to kind of run and frustrate Anthony Joshua.
But when you float like a butterfly, then take a knee, then you can stretch these things out. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what Jake did.
I mean, I know that people are going to say, well, Jake was running and Jake was hold. But listen, I mean, at the end of the day, Jake had one job, and that was to try and survive.
Jake was fighting for his survival, and you could so see it. You could see this animal who's been caged and is just trying to make it through, not even kill its prey, just make it through. And it was incredible. It was really incredible.
This was Darwinism in a boxing ring, right? He had to do whatever he could to just extend the fight and get one more, hope and pray shot.
If someone doesn't actually want to offensively engage with you, it is hard to track them down. And so, there was obviously Jake did a little bit more than that. I thought some of the stabbing jabs and the lancing jabs were pretty good. Making him miss a few times was pretty interesting, but it was all predicated on being way far away, not really offensively engaging, and having the ring space to do it.
Anthony Joshua was a little sloppy. He was tentative. He took his time. He said he was trying to break him down, look for the shots. And maybe it's because he'd been out the ring for 15 months, okay?
All the mic and all the Hulkamania and all the other stuff that he did, that doesn't help you when you're inside that ring. And it was very obvious and evident from the beginning he didn't deserve to be in there, that he shouldn't have been in there.
As much as we're not expecting you to be an idiot and just stand right in front of AJ and put your chin on a platter, people just expected a bit more aggression than what they were getting. And don't get me wrong, maybe I would have done the fucking same thing, right? Maybe I would have done the same thing. I'm not trying to be too critical here.
Boxing's hard because the person can run away, and then once you come close to try to hit him in combinations, he can grab you up, and then you can't Muay Thai clinch, you can't knee, you can't elbow, you can't do none of that stuff. You're waiting, you're holding, then you separate, then he has to do it all over again.
But this was all calculated risk for AJ as well, because he knew as long as he turned that faucet on and let the water run and let it fill up the sink and never turned the faucet off, that eventually he would drown Jake. Right? So every round it was pressure, front foot, and AJ strategically breaking down Jake's gas tank.
And every time he threw a punch, I like wince, because he's a big man and he's an incredible boxer and he's still in his prime and he's got a very long reach and he's got a lot of power in that right hand, and that left hook is terrifying as well. And so I thought it could end at any moment. And so because of that, I was captivated and enthralled, because I literally thought that he could take Jake's head off at any moment.
Jake Paul was exhausted after round 2. Going into round 3, you saw him diving for the legs.
He was shooting take that. Like, it was embarrassing for him.
He looked like Dylan Dennis.
And I would guess that maybe Jake Paul shot maybe 20 takedowns in that fight, because every single time that Anthony Joshua closed the distance and went to throw a shot, he would clinch, he would grapple, he would get double underhooks, he would shoot for the legs, he would do a double leg takedown.
Look, AJ, he knew what was going to happen before the fight even took place. That's why he was so calm. And that's probably why in the first few rounds when Jake Paul's buzzing around like a fucking little bee, this is going to slow down. I'm going to get to you.
Jake Paul, I didn't think he was going to make it past round 3, and I thought he'd be battered long before that. The reality is, the fatal flaw in Jake Paul's game is that amount of movement requires an extraordinary amount of output, and you just can't keep that kind of a pace. Eventually, you're going to slow down a little bit, and then those punches, they go from bad to worse for Anthony Joshua quickly.
I mean, the guy can survive if he moves, but it's a lot easier to survive if there's nothing coming at him. And there were a lot of rounds there wasn't a lot coming at him, but then more started coming. And you know what got to him? Obviously the physicality, the talent, all that, but the pressure, the pressure of being on that stage, being in that ring at that level. He was in Mount Everest, and he was never on Mount Everest before. And the air is thin there. And the air got thin there. To my point, I always say that. And you can see the air got thin.
Anthony Joshua is trying to find him. As the fight goes longer, all those big actions, the shots, the big overhand rights, all those things were starting to fatigue Paul. So Joshua keeps stalking, keeps stalking. I always say, you can intimidate someone with your posture. You can make yourself bigger than you actually are. And that's what Joshua did.
This is a little clip from round 4 where Jake actually did land, you know, a couple of nice little shots there. And AJ is just sort of stalking him and trying to apply more and more pressure. It was probably his best round because he did land a couple of shots, but equally, you could see what that was taking out of him.
I think AJ got caught with an overhand right at one stage, but sometimes when you're out in the rain, you're going to get wet. He was following him around, taking his eye off the ball, probably a bit undermotivated, thinking, what's this guy doing that's in front of me? Jake Paul was just running.
This is it right here. This is Jake Paul landing this overhand on Anthony Joshua. And you know what? I fucking respect him for this massively, yeah. He'd been dropped a few times, hurt to the body, getting stalked down by AJ, and he lands this on AJ's chin. That's a solid shot. That is a solid overhand. I know I'm glazing. I'm going to get so much backlash. I really don't care. This is such a bad look for boxing.
Joshua was very smart in saying you got to respect any fighter. There were a few times where Jake actually landed those big overhand rights that he put Tyron Woodley down with, but Joshua just ate that.
And I think as soon as Joshua got hit with one of his best punches and he didn't even budge and countered right back, I think that was the beginning of the end.
As we got into the 5th and 6th round, Jake was getting beat up. There was a moment, I think it was in the 5th round, where Jake was getting hit with some punches on the ropes, and I think AJ turned over a right hand, maybe a left hook, maybe an uppercut. Something happened. Jake got like a little bit stumbly.
Then he starts throwing the jab, and he starts throwing the jab, and he starts throwing the jab. Dude, by the 5th round, he knocked him down twice. I thought the fight was going to be over because he was going to knock him down again. He kept trying to fight. He kept getting up when he could have quit on himself. At one point, he started limping. It looked like that was the moment he was going to throw in the towel and say, you know what, I'm done. I'm injured. I'm hurt. I don't want to do that. But hats off to him. He got up and he kept fighting.
Jake done well while it lasted. But if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you is that, Jake, what's going to happen? I'm going to see a time when I'm going to take your soul and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter.
I thought Jake Paul was going to get flatline KO'd and slimed out, as the youth say, in the first 2 rounds of this fight. But you know what? He made it to round 6, and it was an ugly way to make it to round 6.
The finishing shot, they're up in the corner, swings a left, comes with the right hand, just kind of grazes the chin of Jake Paul, and he goes down. As he goes down, he has the wherewithal, though, to go, whoa, like Ric Flair.
And let's see this one. Left hook whiffs. Jake stuck in the corner jab. Oh, that right hand was. Look at Jake's face. Jake's face is like, what the fuck is that? Yo, bah, that's a sick shot. Wow.
He never flatlined Jake. I mean, he did break his jaw in 2 places, which is a disaster. But there are a lot of heavyweights that would have been out cold from that right hand. I mean, one of them was Francis Ngannou in a pretty similar shot, really. Do you know what I mean? So I actually give Jake unbelievable credit for doing it in the first place, but his performance as well. I mean, I stand by the fact that I think he's just a decent cruiserweight.
Jake Paul's not a heavyweight. I don't even think he's a cruiserweight. I think he's an overblown, much smaller fighter. Like, I think Jake Paul would make one, if he was really in the shape that he should be in for a boxer, he would be a 170 pounder in the UFC. Like, he would cut to make 170. He's not anywhere. He should not be fighting above 200 pounds. The guy's 5'11", at best 6 foot tall. But he tried, man.
I don't know. I saw an interview with AJ saying that he wanted to take him to a point where, like, he systematically broke him down. Regardless of how he got there, like, dude still, like, broke his face.
You could see in his face, he was like, okay, now I understand boxing. Now I understand, like, at its worst, what boxing can be. Because he got hit clean by one of the biggest punchers acclaimed, a lot of accolades, world champion heavyweight, and he went down and didn't get up. And honestly, I was hoping he didn't get up because it was only going to get worse.
I know I'm going to be glazing here, but I was genuinely shocked. I was genuinely shocked he didn't get flatline KO'd by that. He went down, he got TKO'd, he stood up, he got back to his feet with a broken jaw, tried to get up for the 10 count. He didn't make it. He made it up at about 11 or 12. The fight got called off. In round 6...
I will say this. Joshua said he was going to take his soul. I will say this, fair play, because when he got dropped there, you saw it go, whoa, give it the Ric Flair. He is a good showman, to be fair.
Yeah, to have your jaw broken and still kind of give a reaction and to still be standing around doing interviews, congratulating Joshua.
Yeah.
He's got a chin. I mean, he didn't go to sleep from that shot. The damn punch broke his jaw in 2 places and he still didn't go out.